swap these barracks and the factory to make double Hellions. And in the meanwhile I also built a couple of siege tanks because I just wanted to use them for defense. I knew he was going tanks, so I thought, well, what the hell, I could use them to defend the drops or something. I was afraid of him, so his Reaper harass was very strong, but it was just one Reaper. I overcompensated, and I expected some drop play from him, to be honest. And as you can see, I didn't prepare for it. I had idle SCVs almost all the time, and a lot of unspent resources, but here, almost on the 15-minute mark, I think I decided to move out again. Well, guess not. And also, only upgrade I had by now was Blue Flame Hellion and Steam Pack. Well, he had also no upgrade, but he used scan repeatedly, and so he went Thors, and Thors are direct counter to my benches, and you can see that he scans like every minute or so. He scans for my units to see my unit's composition, and he is reacting accordingly. I thought he had a starport, but he didn't have any, so I built some Viking. I thought he will go tank Vikings. I had no idea that he has Thors, so I decided to move out and just hope for the best. I didn't think at all that I will be able to do something in this game. So I scanned again and I saw his tanks, so I moved out. And what I decided to do, I created a siege line here just out of his sight range, and I saw that he didn't have any air units, so I brought some SCVs to repair and just to soak up damage, and I just A-moved here. And when I saw Thors, I was very afraid, so I decided to back up my benches. And actually only 2 of them were left alive. And 3 of my tanks, and well, I did get a Thor there, and some of the SCVs, so a little bit of blunder from his side, but I knew I had to move out. I left this tank just as just to secure my runaway from here, but he didn't attack it. So in the meanwhile he expanded on the south side, and I had no clue about this expansion, and I knew that in this moment that I was way behind and I had something to do about it, and again I built Vikings. I had no idea about it. I had no idea that he had no air, and Vikings were just useless, and my base here was oversaturated, so I just had to expand, or I could just starve to that. And also I thought what I will do with this excess gas. I was low on minerals, but I had a lot of gas, so I decided let's go Ravens. When I saw his Thors, I thought that Ravens will be a good idea to use that point defense drone and to delay that splash damage, and just to buy some time for my banshees to do some additional damage. So I decided to try to sneak an expansion here, and well, I just sent an SCV and hoped for the best. I must tell you, and the very moment I started my expansion, he scanned, so that was just unlucky, and I expected that he will soon attack here. So immediately when the scan passed, I decided to cancel this expansion and started building command center here. And I had no idea about his expansion here, so it could be very tricky for me. But I was lucky. I think that he actually didn't see my SCV sneak in here and build an expansion. In the meanwhile, he continued his tank Thor production, and he was ahead in upgrades. He already had +1 weapons upgrade, while my +1 was just finishing, and he was building another command center. So but his entire army was solely relying on tanks and Thors, while my unit composition was, I had a bigger variety of units, but I had some marauders, benches, and a lot of useless Vikings, and 4 tanks. And yes, he had no idea that I moved that expansion here, and that I cancelled this one here. So I scanned here, and I saw that his tanks are not sieged up. So I decided, well, let's move out quick and hope that his tanks will be unsieged. And here I caught them off guard. And just to back out a bit, that you see, just a moment before this battle, I was ahead in the army. Well, I was way ahead. Actually, when I played this game, I believed that that he was way ahead on army count. That his army value was way higher, and that I just managed to abuse his blunder because his tanks were unsieged, and I moved directly in them. And by the time they sieged, I did a lot of damage, and also point defense drone protected my benches from taking too much damage, and my steamed marauders just prowled through his mech army, and in the end you can see how quickly his units died. And yes, he had very reason to be disappointed, but simply this one battle decided the whole match. He was way more mobile than me. He expanded more. He took his turret way faster than me, and you see he was lying. He wasn't on the 200. I thought that really he was on 200, but he wasn't. But yeah, and I said that he was better the whole time. I just caught his tanks off guard. So one little mistake, and his entire game was lost. He had no chance. And had those tanks, have them been sieged up, I wouldn't be able to engage. And yeah, I was lucky. I just admit that I was lucky, and he left the game. What was the point of this video? I just wanted to state that indeed tanks are powerful unit, but only one mistake, one bad positioning, one bad siege up can punish you greatly, and you can lose the game just for one misclick or late click. So if you're going for tank play, you must be very, very careful. And personally, I would never sacrifice the mobility, the reactivity for that sheer firepower that sieged tanks have, because I don't think that it pays. I don't think it pays, and I would always choose air superiority over some huge, powerful siege line, because I think that siege lines can be avoided, and that siege tank mechanics can be pretty much abused, at least in Terran versus Terran matchup. Maybe in Terran versus Erg, tanks are better choice, but in Terran versus Terran, I don't know. And also versus Protoss as well, I never go tanks. So you see, my average APM was 56, so there was no fancy builds, no fancy micro from my side. Mostly it was just a move and catching opponent off guard. So this is just a warning, and this is mainly made for those lower level players, to just warn you to be very, very, very careful about siege tank play and positioning. And you can see my macro wasn't really good. I stockpiled a lot of energy. I could use it on those mules. I could that energy could be, look here, 200 of 200. That energy could be much more minerals, much bigger army, but simply, well, that was enough to beat LOONEY. And I'm fairly certain that this is not the real LOONEY player. So thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, feel free post some comments or message me in game. zmajko197 is my character code, and also feel free to join our Mixed Fruit coaching group, mixedfruit.org, or Mixed Fruit chat channel on European server. That's it, bye bye.